How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Ayin Vav, Daf 76 of Masechta Gittin. Friends, alright friends, let me tell you, we got a big daf today. We got a big daf today because we got about half an Amud to do on Daf Ayin Hey Amud Beis. We got the whole of Daf Ayin Vav, which isn't exactly a short daf. Say it's a little bit on the bigger side. And I want to get to the end of the Perek, which is halfway through Ayin Zayin Amud Aleph. So it's basically about a daf and a half, and it's not like a short daf and a half. So it's a little bit chunky. So I just want to keep you prepared that I imagine it's going to be probably close to an hour. If I had to guess, probably over 50 minutes. That's my guess over here. But the good thing is, after this daf, I should be set up for Tisha B'Av, which is good. Tisha B'Av is very hard, of course, because it's hard to record Daf Yomi when you're not allowed to. So, which means I had to do an extra one on Friday. Anyways, fine. Okay, so Daf Ayin Hey. So basically, we're going to learn 3 Mishnayos today. We're going to learn 3 Mishnayos today to get to the end of the parak. All right, here we go. Mishnah number 1 on Daf Ayin Hey Amud Beis, about halfway through the Amud. The good thing though is that there isn't anything on this daf that's like particularly mind busting. Like it's really fine. You just gotta go line by line, but it's like it's nothing crazy, which is good. Again, here's your get, but there's a condition. You have to take care of my father. Or you have to nurse my son. Kamahi manikaso. So how long does she have to nurse the child for? 2 years. Rabbi Yehuda Omer 18 chodesh. Rabbi Yehuda says 18 months. Somebody, I don't know what somebody's doing. Somebody's like drilling or something. I guess they found out I was recording Babylon Talmud. They figured, okay, now. Alright. Mesa ben or now, if the child dies or the father dies, and therefore obviously they no longer need her to, take care of them, it's a get. Okay, it's a get because she nursed the child, she took care of the father until they died, and there's no longer a need to do so. And okay, so she moves on with her life. She's divorced. Fine. Now, in this case, she's explicit. There's a 2-year commitment to take care of my father, a 2-year commitment to nurse my son. If the son died prior to 2 years, which means that obviously Memele she can't nurse the child for 2 years because he's dead. Or the father says, look, I don't want you to take care of me, and he says shelo bakpada. She didn't do anything wrong, but still he says, look, I don't want it. Ain't no get. The get is bottle. It's not a good get because at the end of the day, the condition was not met. The condition was that she has to nurse the child for 2 years, or that she has to take care of the father for 2 years, and it didn't happen. Fine. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Omer caused a get. Whereas Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says that no, Taka is a good get because Klal Omer Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Kol Akov she'ena imeno. Or is a get. Look, if it's not her fault, if she's not the source of the dilly dally, if she's not the source of the reason why the condition is not being met, so then from her, it's a good get. Okay, fine. Now, so one second. We said in the Reisha that if he says that you're divorced under the condition that you nurse my baby, so this machlokas Tanakam and Rabbi Yehuda is that 2 years or 18 months. But that seems like quite a bit. For a minute, we have a contradiction. If she took care of the father for 1 day or nursed the baby for 1 day, how is it get? It's a good get. She's yotzezan, right? She did what she was asked. She was asked to take care of the father, to nurse the child. She did it 1 day. Okay, it might only be 1 day, but it was after all 1 day. She did what she was asked to do, and therefore she's now divorced. So how come in the Mishnah we're saying it's up to 2 years? Over here we're saying just do it once and you're done. Says Rav Chizda, well, you have the Mishnah and you have the Brisa. The Mishnah is Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. The Brisa is the Rabbanon. Mastis Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, Uvaisa Rabbanon. Fine. That we know that Reb Shimon ben Gamliel had said by the cloak, right? If he says you're divorced under the condition that you give me the cloak, so Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says, look, even if there's no cloak, so give the value, because it's about the vibe. It's about what did Rashi say? Right? He's looking for, he's just looking to gain something, and therefore, so in the case of the cloak, so if you don't have the cloak, so give money. Over here, also he's looking to gain something, i.e., that she should serve, that she should take care of the father, that she should nurse the child for as much as possible, and therefore it is, according to Tanna Kamma, it's 2 years. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's 18 months. But in the Brisa, it's like the rabbis. What did the rabbis say? The rabbi said by the cloak. If he says cloak, he means cloak. So here also, he said, I want you to nurse my child. She nurses the child. She's done. She did what she was told. But Hami the Sefer Reb Shimon ben Gamliel have Michal Doesh Lav Shimon ben Gamliel. But one second, at the end of the Mishnah, we say Amr Reb Shimon ben Gamliel cause a get. So if Reb Shimon ben Gamliel is coming at the end of the Mishnah, that means that the first part of the Mishnah is not Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. So don't tell me that Reb Shimon ben Gamliel is the one who says that it has to be up to 2 years, because that seems to be the Rabbanon. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel only comes later in the Mishnah. Ela Brisa Reb Shimon ben Gamliel to mekel b'tnai maslitzim Rabbanon. No, so rather say fakert, that the Brisa that says that she just needs to nurse the baby for 1 day. So that's Reb Shimon ben Gamliel who's lenient. How is he lenient? Well, the guy says, I want my cloak, right? You're divorced on the condition that you give me the cloak. He says, look, it doesn't have to be the cloak, it could be money also. So he's being lenient. So here also, right, he says you're divorced on the condition that you nurse my baby. Okay, one day is enough. But the rabbis who say that when he says cloak, you can't just pay it with money. If he says cloak, he means cloak. Right? They're being more stringent. Nothing else will serve. And therefore, here also, when he says, you're divorced on the condition that you nurse my baby for the maximum up to 2 years. Okay, fine. Rava Amar Lo Kasha, Rava gives a different explanation, kan bestam kan b'mefarish, that it depends if he gave an amount, right? In the Mishnah, he didn't say for how long. He just says, look, you are divorced under the condition that you nurse my baby. He didn't say for how long. Okay, so in that case, Tanna Kamma says 2 years, Rabbi Yehuda says 18 months. But in the Brisa, it's talking about where he specified for 1 day. I just want you to nurse my baby for 1 day. So then she nurses for 1 day, and that's it. So Rav Ashi says that actually, if he doesn't specify for how long, so then it's actually just 1 day. So the Brisa, of course, then would be talking about, when he just mentioned it's stam, and it's 1 day, right? He says, you're divorced under the condition that you nurse my baby. So 1 day is enough, and that's what the Brisa is talking about. But 1 second, but Tanan, what about our Mishnah? Kami v'nikaso shtei shonim. Rabbi Yehuda Omer shmona asar chodesh. That how long does she nurse the baby for? Tanna Kamma says 2 years. Rabbi Yehuda says 18 months. B'shlama the Rava nicha. So I understand according to Rava. So it makes sense, right? When it's stam, it's 2 years or 18 months. When it's mifar, if he says 1 year, so 1 day, so then it's 1 day. Elder of Ashi, lama lishtei shanim, lama lishmona asar chodesh b'yom echad sagi. I don't understand. According to Rav Ashi, though, why are we talking about 2 years, 18 months? 1 day should be enough. So hachi ka'amar yom echad mishtei shanim, la'afuke la'achar shtei shanim, delo. Yom echad mishmona asar chodesh, la'afuke la'achar shmona asar chodesh, delo. The way Rav Ashi understands it is he's saying, look, you only need to do it for a day. But what's it saying in the Mishnah when it talks about 2 years, 18 months? It's talking about the window that you have to do the 1 day. Okay? So if he says you're divorced on the condition that you nurse my baby, so she only has to nurse the baby 1 day, but that 1 day has to be within, according to Tanna Kamma, within 2 years, according to Rabbi Yehuda, within 18 months. After that, it's too late. Meisvei, but we have a kasha. If he says that you're divorced under the condition that you serve my father for 2 years, taniki as bini shtei shanim, or that you nurse my son for 2 years. Meis habein. Now, if the son died, Osha Amar of and the husband or the father says, I don't want you to take care of me, even if she didn't do anything wrong. He wasn't upset, but he just doesn't want her to take care of him. Ain't no get. It's not a good get. So B'Shlomo the Rava. So I understand according to Rava, Reisha b'delo parish. So the Reisha, where it says that she has to nurse the baby for 2 years or 18 months, but if the baby dies, so then it's still a good get, because he didn't expressly state for how long, and therefore by default it's 2 years or 18 months. But if the baby dies, so then whatever, she did what she was meant to do. Seifa de parish, but in the Seifa of the Mishnah, where he's explicit, 2 years. If it wasn't 2 years, it wasn't 2 years. So therefore the get is no good. El Rav Ashi, Maishna Reisha, Maishna Seifa. But according to Rav Ashi, I don't understand. According to Rav Ashi, he's talking about she only has to nurse the baby for 1 day. So it's pretty clear. If she nursed the baby, she's yoitze, it's a good get. If she didn't nurse the baby, it's not a good get. What's the difference between the ratio where he says you're divorced on the condition that you nursed my baby, or the Seifa where it says that you're divorced on the condition that you nursed my baby for 2 years? How come in the ratio if the baby dies, it's a kosher get? In the Seifa, if the baby dies, it's a pasul get? I mean, if it's a pasul get, it must mean that she didn't nurse the baby. If she didn't nurse the baby, then how come in the ratio we're saying it's kosher? Right? If we're saying that it's just talking about one-time thing, I don't understand why there should be a difference between the ratio and the Seifa. If she nursed the baby, it's a kosher get. If she didn't nurse the baby, it's a pasul get. What should be the difference? Kasha, we say it's taka, a starke kasha, and Rav Ashi. Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Hareze gitech, al menashe teshamshi es abo shtei shonim, va menashe shetoniki es bni shtei shonim. Right here's your get, you're divorced under the condition that you take care of my father for 2 years, or that you nurse my baby for 2 years. Afal pisha lo niskayim atnai, hare ze get. Even if she didn't do what she was meant to do, she didn't take care of the father, she didn't nurse the baby, it's still a good get. Lefi shelo amar lo, im teshamshi im lo teshamshi, im taniki vim lo taniki, divrei Reb Meir. So Reb Meir, as we learned the other day, right, he holds, I think we learned the other day, that he holds, yeah, we definitely learned the other day, right? He holds that every Tanai needs to be double-sided, right? If you do this, then that, and if you don't do this, then that. Now, in this stipulation, he didn't say what happens if she doesn't. He says, you're divorced under the condition that you nurse my baby, that you take care of my father. He didn't say what happens if she doesn't do it. And therefore, the condition was irrelevant, because it wasn't done properly. And therefore, she's divorced. That's Reb Meir's opinion, who says that you need a double-sided Tanai. Look, Look, if the condition was met, so then it's a get. If the condition was not met, then it's not a good get. Meaning the rabbis say it's a good condition. Reb Shimon Gamliel points out that every single time that a Tanai, that a condition is mentioned in the Torah, in the Tanakh, it's always double-sided. Rashi gives a few other examples that whenever there's a Tanai, it's always double-sided, not just by Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven. But whenever there's a Tanai in the Tanakh, it's always double-sided. So there are those who say that Reb Shimon Gamliel is commenting on Reb Meir, he's replying to Reb Meir, and there are those who say that he's replying to the rabbis. There are those who say that Reb Shimon Gamliel is responding to Reb Meir, that Reb Meir says that you need to have a Tanai Kafel, because by Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven, there's a Tanai Kafel. It says, if you go and fight, then this, if you don't go fight, then that. Reb Shimon Gamliel is saying to Reb Meir, why are you saying that every Tanai needs to be a Tanai Kafel because of Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven? Every time there is a condition mentioned in the Tanakh, it's always double-sided, which makes them. Who can tell me what that means? There's a concept of Shnei Ksuma B'an Kechad. Who can tell me what Shnei Ksuma B'an Kechad is? So in general, I think this is an accurate way to explain it. In general, there's a concept called a binyanav. right, that, if you have something in one place, you can apply it to another place. So if the only place where we had this concept of a Tanai Kafel was by Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven, so Beseder, just like by Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven, it was a Tanai Kafel. So any condition should be double-sided, should be a Tanai Kafel. But the thing is, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel is pointing out to Reb Meir that that's not the case. There are multiple places in Tanakh where there are conditions, and each of those times, the condition is double-sided. If yes, then that. If no, then that. Which makes it Shnei Ksuvim Aban Kechad. Who can tell me what Shnei Ksuvim Aban Kechad is? It means that if the Torah specifies something in two places, well, then you can no longer apply it to other places. If it was in one place, so say, okay, just like in that place, let's apply it to other places. But if it's in multiple places, then we say, well, only in the places where they were specified, that's where we apply it. So therefore, since each time you have a Tanai in Tanakh, it's a Tanai Kafel, we say that it went out of the way to point out that in these places, that is where you need to have a double-sided condition, but in general, you don't. And that is Reb Shimon ben Gamliel's response to Reb Meir. Reb Meir, why are you saying that every Tanai needs to be a Tanai Kafel? Because of Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven, every place in Tanakh where there's a Tanai, it's a Tanai Kafel, which makes him Shnei Ksuvim Aban Kechad ve'im melamdin. Ikedamer, to those who say, L'Rabbanan Ka'amarlu. To those who say that, right, that Reb Shimon ben Gamliel was responding to the rabbis. V'achi Ka'amarlu. And this is what he was saying to them, that, they say that you don't need a Tanai Kafel. Ein l'cha Tanai b'ksuvim she'eino Kafel. Rabbis, why are you saying that you don't need a Tanai Kafel? Every time there is a Tanai in the Tanakh, there is a Tanai Kafel. And therefore we should learn out from there that we need a Tanai Kafel. Maybe you'll say that, but isn't that Shnei Ksuvim Aban Kechad? So Rashi points out that in the Gemara and Kedushin, that we're going to learn soon, it explains why each of these places was necessary to have a Tanai Kafel. So it's not Shnei Ksuvim Aban Kechad. And therefore, so the rabbis say that even if the condition so the rabbis say the condition needs to be met. What about the fact that it's not a Tanai Kafel? The rabbis say you don't need a Tanai Kafel. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says, why not? Why not? Every place in the Tanakh where there's a Tanai, it's always a Tanai Kafel. You should need a Tanai Kafel. Okay. V'raminu. Now we have a kasha from the following brayse. But this is your get under the condition that you take care of my father. Shtei shonim, for 2 years. Hamanashe taniki as b'ni, under the condition that you nurse my son. Shtei shonim, for 2 years. Mesa of or mesa bein. If the father died or the son died, ain't no get. Divrei Meir. Reb Meir says it's not a get. Okay, that's a problem because Reb Meir had said that you needed a Tanai Kafel. I didn't see a Tanai Kafel here, and yet we're saying if the condition was not met, it's a possible get. Whereas the Chacham say Afal pi shelo niskayim matanai arei get, and the Chacham are saying that even though the condition was not met, it's still a good get. Yucholi shetomar lo, because she could say to the husband, Tein li avicha v'Hashem shenu, look, bring your husband bring your father here, and I'll take care of him. Tein li bincha v'anikenu, bring your baby here, and I'll nurse the baby. Kasha d'Reb Meir, kasha d'Rabbanan, d'Rabbanan. So I don't understand. On the one hand, Reb Meir is saying they need a Tanai Kafel. Over here, he's saying that you have to listen to the Tanai, even though it's not a Tanai Kafel. On the one hand, the Rabbanan are saying that you don't need a Tanai Kafel. On the other hand, we're saying over here that she can just say that even though she was not Makayim the Tanai, it's still okay because she can say just bring your baby here. What about the fact that she wasn't Makayim the Tanai? Shouldn't that be a problem? So the Meir lokasha. So we say it's no problem for a Meir. So the reason why he says in this brisa that the get is bottle, and because you have to do the condition, is because it was taka Tanai Kafel. And where he says that you don't need that, the condition is irrelevant, it's because it wasn't a Tanai Kafel. Okay, fine. Also, the rabbis are no problem. Man chacham, who are the rabbis? The hacha in this brisa that say that even though the condition was not met, it's okay. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel he damer kol akav she'eino imeno harei zeget. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel had said that as long as the hold up didn't come from her, such as over here where she's saying, look, bring me your father, I'll take care of him, or bring me your baby, I'll nurse him, right? But it's not my fault. You have to bring him to me. So then it's not her fault, and it's beseder, and it's a good get. Okay. Tana Rabbanan. the rabbis taught, if he says to her in front of two witnesses, this is your get under the condition that you take care of my father for 2 years. But now she didn't give him the get yet. He just made the condition in front of two witnesses. And then he said to her in front of two other witnesses, let's say two other witnesses, this is your get under the condition that you give me 200 zuz. And then he gives her the get. So lo bitel divra achrin es arishin. So the second condition of giving me 200 zuz did not nullify the first condition of taking care of his father. And therefore it's up to her to choose which one she wants to do. She can either give him 200 zuz or she can take care of the father. But if he said to her in front of two witnesses, this is your get, under the condition that you give me 200 zuz. And then he says to her in front of two other witnesses, that this is your get under the condition that you give me 300 zuz, not 200 zuz. Well then, in that case, clearly the second condition, where he's demanding more money, is going to replace the first condition. And you cannot have one of the first witnesses joined together with one of the second witnesses. What's that referring to? If it's talking about the seifa, where we said the witnesses first time around were about 200 zuz, and the witnesses second time around were about 300 zuz, and we said that the 300 zuz replaces the 200 zuz, right? I.e. the 200 zuz is irrelevant, so arei batal. Obviously, one of the first witnesses cannot join together with one of the second witnesses. The first witnesses are now null and void because their 200, the 200 zuz condition was replaced. Ela areisha. Rather, it's talking about the reisha, right? Where he says on the condition that you take care of my father, and then he says under the condition that you give me 200 zuz, and both are valid. And we're pointing out that one of the witnesses from one of the first two witnesses cannot join together with one of the second two witnesses. Pshita, isn't that obviously? They're testifying, they witnessed two separate things. So interesting, I don't really get this answer, but I might think that, well, at the end of the day, both groups of witnesses were valid, right? They weren't disqualified or replaced, and therefore I might think that in order to, clarify that there was some condition here, they would be able to join together. That no, they can't. You can't have one of the witnesses who witnessed him say that she has to take care of his father. You can't join together with one of the witnesses who said that who witnessed that she has to give him 200 zuz. They can't join together like that. All right, and now we get up to a new Mishnah. So here's your get if I don't come back within the next 30 days. And he was traveling at that time from Judah to the Galilee. If he reaches Antiparas and he comes back, then it's Tanai's batal. So the assumption here, the way to explain the Mishnah is different than how to actually understand the Mishnah ultimately. Because the way to understand the Mishnah right now is to assume that Antiparas is part of the Galilee. And therefore what the Mishnah is saying is that if he says to his wife, here's your get, what does it say? Here's your get if I don't return home within 30 days. And he was about to head out on a trip from Judah to the Galilee. Right? So, Antiparas, so the way to understand it at this point is that once he reaches Antiparas, which is in the Galilee, and he comes back within 30 days, batal to know. So then the Tanai is gone, right? So meaning, he had given her the get. And he says, look, I'm about to head out on a trip from Judah to Galilee. If I don't come back within 30 days, so then it's a get. So once he gets to Antiparas, so he's reached the Galilee. When he then comes home within 30 days, so there was no need for the get, right? He went to the Galilee, he came back within 30 days. He was Mekai, right? He said, if I come back within 30 days, it's not a get. So then, it's a get if I don't come back within 30 days, but he did come back within 30 days. So that's it, right? So the get is a one-time use, right? So therefore this get was kind of valid while he was on his trip. Once he reached the Galilee, Antiparas, and then he came back within 30 days, the get is unnecessary because he came back in time, and it's a one-time use get, and you throw it in the garbage. Now that works because he reached the Galilee. The condition was that I'm going to the Galilee, and if I stay in the Galilee for 30 days, then we're divorced. But he reached the Galilee, and he did not stay for 30 days. He came back, so they're still married. You throw away the get. Now, if he didn't reach Antiparos, if he stayed in Judah and came back, well, then it would still be a valid get. And if he then goes to the Galilee and stays for 30 days, they would be divorced. The clock starts running once he reaches the Galilee. That's when the condition kicks in, right? Because it says if I stay in the Galilee for 30 days, so once he reaches Antiparos, which is the Galilee, and he comes back within 30 days, so he came back, throw away the get. But if he didn't reach the Galilee, if he had turned home and came back before then, even if it's within 30 days, well, the get was never kind of triggered. So therefore, if he then goes to the Galilee and stays for 30 days, he would be divorced. Fine. So again, this is your get. If I don't come back within the next 30 days, and he was traveling from Judah to the Galilee, so once he reaches Antiparos in the Galilee, so that triggers the 30-day clock. V'chazer, if he comes home within 30 days, batal tnao, so the tnai is batal. It was never ultimately, the get never kicked in, and you throw it away. So one-time use. The next two cases are going to be very similar. This is your get if I don't come back within 30 days. This time was fakert. He was traveling from the Galilee to Judah. And he reached Kfar Osnoi, which we're assuming is in Judah. So now this triggers the countdown. But he came back within 30 days. Batal to know. Okay, so the condition in the get is batal. He came back. So they're not divorced. Throw away the get. You can't be used the second time. Here's your get if I don't come back within 30 days. And he was traveling to Chutzlotz, and he reached Akko, which again we're assuming for now is outside of Eretz Yisrael. And then he came back within 30 days. Batal to know. So the Tanai is batal, right? The get was only going to kick in if he stayed in Chutzlotz for 30 days. He didn't stay in Chutzlotz for 30 days. He came back. Throw away the get. If ever I leave you for 30 days, then we are divorced. How romantic. I will never leave you for 30 days. I love you so much. And if I do stay away for 30 days, well then we'll be divorced. Okay. And he would go a little bit, come back, go a little bit, come back. Since there was no yichud, it's a get. The Gemara is going to explain exactly what's going on over here. I don't understand. If you never stayed away for 30 days, then what's pshat with the get? Fine. The Gemara is going to explain that very soon. So the meimra tanti paris b'gol hava. Oh, so now the Gemara says 1 second. We were assuming that when he says that this is your get if I don't come back within 30 days, and he was traveling from Judah to the Galilee. So if he reaches Antiparos and comes back within 30 days, so then is it Antiparos or Antipros? Let's see. Let's look it up. Okay, it's Antipros. Okay, so we said that once he reaches Antipros, so then he's reached the Galilee, and if he comes back within 30 days, then you throw away the get because he came back. So the name of Antipros Bigalilava, is that to say that Antipros is in the Galilee? Kaima V'ramini. We have a contradiction. Antipros Yehuda V'chvarosnoi Bigalil. That actually it's fakert. Antipros is in Yehuda, and Kfar Osnoi, which we wanted to assume was in Judah, is actually in the Galilee. Which means that if he only reaches Antipros, which is still in Judah, well then the get never kicked in. And even if he comes home within 30 days, the get is still valid because it never was triggered because he never actually went to the Galilee. And the same for Kfar Osnoi. Right? That if if a fellow was going from the Galilee to Judah and he only made it to Kfar Osnai, he never made it to Judah. Bein Tayim, and if he goes somewhere in between, Matilin also l'chumra. Then we have to be stringent. Megoreshes, vein megoreshes. We have to treat, if she's divorced, right? We have to treat her like she's divorced and also not divorced. Meaning if he got somewhere in between Antipras and Kfar Osnai, so then it's unclear if that's considered Judah or the Galilee. So therefore, if he was going from Judah to the Galilee and he made it in between Antipras and Kfar Osnai, and then he turned home, So it's unclear if he made it to the Galilee and came back, in which case the get is bottle, or if maybe he stayed in Judah, in which case the get is still valid. And if he then goes to the Galilee and stays for 30 days, so it's unclear if if he's now divorced because the get was never triggered, and it was only triggered when he actually went to the Galilee, or maybe he already had gone to the Galilee, right? We weren't sure. Maybe he already did go to the Galilee and he came back. In which case, if he now goes to the Galilee for 30 days, he's not divorced, so it's unclear. And I guess he would have to do chalitza, whatever, if he dies. And also, she wouldn't be able to get married, whatever. She would need another get. Fine. So how do you understand our Mishnah? Because we were assuming that Antipras was in the Galilee and Kfar Osnai was in Judah. So Rabbi Trei Tnoi Ka'amar. Lo. So he's actually making two conditions to her. What he's saying to her is, if I make it to the Galilee, immediately we're divorced. And even if I don't make it to the Galilee, but I stay out for 30 days, and I don't come back, then it's a divorce. And if he reaches Antipras and comes home, that he did not reach the Galilee, because Antipras is in Judah, and he also did not wait for 30 days, batal tno, so you throw away the get in the garbage, because he didn't reach the Galilee and he didn't stay out for 30 days. Okay, it's a one-time use get, tear it up, throw it in the garbage. Okay. Now it's a very similar case. He was going from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz. The name of the Akov Medina Sayom Kaimo. Is that to say that Acre is in Chutz La'aretz? For Omer of Safra, it says of Safra, Kiabu Mifter Rabbanon Me'adode, when you would have yeshiva students who came from Babylon to Eretz Yisrael to study, and then their yeshiva companions from Eretz Yisrael were walking back the people who came to study from Bavel. So Mifter Me'adode, so the students from Israel would only walk their Babylonian counterparts up until Acre, but not further, because it's forbidden. What does Rashi say? About halfway through the thin lines, that people who live in Eretz Yisrael, it's forbidden to go to Chutz La'aretz, and therefore they wouldn't go past Acre. So we see that Acre is part of Eretz Yisrael. We were assuming that Acre was part of Chutz La'aretz. So again, he's making two conditions. If I step foot in outside of Eretz Yisrael, then immediately we're divorced. And even if I don't make it to Chutz La'aretz, but I stay out for 30 days, and I don't come home, then it's a get. If he reached Acre and came back, that he didn't go to Chutz La'aretz, and he also didn't stay away for 30 days, batal tno, so you can throw the get in the garbage. Okay. And the final push for this Mishnah, we're actually doing okay on time, I think. And again, it's not such difficult stuff ahead, it's like just basic kind of Gemara stuff. So maybe it won't be as long as I said it would. I said I was predicting 50 plus minutes, but maybe we'll be able to do it in less. Let's see. Seems like it's moving. This is your get if I leave your face for 30 days, and then it says that he was coming and going. He said, and it says it's a get because there was no yichud. What the heck is going on? V'lo over. I don't understand. Why are they divorced? He never left her for 30 days. So Amr Rav Huna, my ponayich. What is ponayich? Tashmish. It's talking about bia. Ve'amai karila le ponayich lishna ma'al yunokat. Why does it say ponayich? Rashi says pon of shalmata. It's It's a more refined way of speaking. So it says ponayich. So therefore, what does it mean? So it says if I don't have bia with you for 30 days, we're divorced. And it says even though he came and went, it says because he was lo nesiached ima, he never was alone with her, and then clearly they didn't have bia. So that is why they're divorced. Okay. Rabbi Yochanan Amar lo ponayich mamish. Rabbi Yochanan says no, really it means if I don't see you. If I don't see you for 30 days, we're divorced. But it says that he was coming and going, so he was seeing her. So why are they divorced? Mikatoni arezu megoreshes. It doesn't say in the Mishnah, says Rabbi Yochanan. It doesn't say in the Mishnah that they're divorced. Hare get katoni. He's saying that it's still a valid get. That's all it's saying. Dilahavi get yoshin. Because it's not a get yoshin. Who can tell me what a get yoshin is? A get yoshin is that if a fellow writes a get, and then he has yichud with her, he's misyachid with her, so then the get is no longer good. You have to write a new get. So what it's saying is that he says, here's your get if ever I leave you for 30 days. And he's coming, and he's going, and he's coming, and he's going. Hareza get, this is still a valid get because it's still a valid get because he never left her for 30 days. And it's not considered a get yashin because there was no yichud. And if he ever leaves her for 30 days, then they'll be divorced. And if it's ever 30 days without seeing each other, then it will still be a get. It's not considered a get yashin. We have a brisa supporting Rabbi Yochanan. Here is your get. If ever I leave you for 30 days, who's coming, going. And since there was no yichud, so it's still a valid get, and we don't consider it to be a get yoshin. Because there was never any yichud. But one second, shouldn't we be concerned that maybe when he was coming and going, maybe they made up? He had given her a get and says, if ever I leave you for 30 days, then we're divorced. So Rashi says, look, why would he give her a get like this? Because clearly they were fighting. But maybe one of the times when he came back, they made up, and they had yichud, and then he's going to come later on, and he's going to claim that it's not a good get, because they had yichud. So Amar Rabbi Bar Ravuna, Hachi Amar Abba Mari, Mishmei the Rav, so it says, Rabbi Bar Ravuna, this is what my father Ravuna said in the name of Rab. Well, it's talking about when he said that that I'm willing to defer to her. If she says that we did not have yichud, then we then trust her, and we did not have yichud, and therefore we don't consider it a get yashon, and that is that ika demasni lo amasnisin. There are those who say that Rav Huna's statement in the name of Rav about him trusting her to say that there was no yichud is going on the mission that we're about to learn in a few lines. That if a fellow says that you're divorced from now, if I don't come back within 12 months, and he died within those 12 months, so it's a get because he said from now. But shouldn't we be concerned that maybe they made up at some point? So it's when he says that she's believed upon me like 100 witnesses to say that I did not come and that there was no yichud. So the Manda Omer who says that Rav Huna Amarab's statement was on the Mishnah when he says, here's your get if I don't come back within 12 months. Right, here's your get from now if I don't come back within 12 months, and then he dies, and we say that she's believed to say that there was no yichud, then certainly in the brisa where he's coming and going, he would say also that he would have to say that unless he says that that his wife should be believed, so then we wouldn't believe her. But because he had to say, he said, but believe my wife if she says that we didn't have yichud, so then we didn't have yichud. So certainly there, right, he would have to make that statement because after all he was coming and going. But if you say that Rav Huna Marav's statement was on the brisa when he's coming and going, and because he said that don't worry, you could believe her that we didn't have any yichud, so that is where he had to say that she's that you could believe her. But in the Mishnah that we're about to learn right now, where he says we're divorced from now if I don't come back within 12 months, and he goes away and he never comes back, he doesn't have to, obviously there was no yichud, there was no need for him to make the statement that you can trust her because after all he went away and never came back. There's people outside making noise. And now for the final Mishnah of the day and of the parak. Yeah, we're going to do this. Yeah, we're mamish moving over here. We're just going to push to the end of the parak, and it's going to be glorious. Says the Mishnah, so this is your get if I don't come back within 12 months, and he dies within the 12 months, ain't no get, it's not a get, because he never came back. Right? It says, right, here's your get, if I don't come back in 12 months, he died within 12 months, obviously he's not coming back, so it's not a good get. But he says, so one second, just on the previous thing, so he says it's your get after 12 months, and he dies in the middle, so it would be, right, ain't get la'achar misa, right, because that doesn't work. But but if he says that here's your get from now, if I don't come back within 12 months, and he died within 12 months, it's a get because he said from now. If he says if I don't come back within 12 months, I want you people to write and give a get to my wife. Kisvu get besoch, kosvu get besoch yud beis chodesh. Now, if they wrote the get within the 12 months, v'nosnu lo la'achar yud beis chodesh, but they gave it to her after the 12 months, ain't no get, it's not a good get, because he said, I want you to write and give the get to my wife after 12 months. If they write the get within the 12 months, it's no good, even though they gave it to her afterwards. Kisvu usnu get li'ishtim lo basim mikan ad yud beis chodesh. Now in this case though, they reverse, they flip around the statement. I want you to write and give a get to my wife if I don't come back within 12 months. Kasvu besoch yud beis chodesh. If they wrote the get within the 12 months, v'nosnu la'achar beis yud beis chodesh, and then they gave it to her after 12 months, ain't no get. So according to Chacham, it makes no difference. It's still not a kosher get, because they needed to wait to write it until after the 12 months. But Rabbi Yossi, however, says, Rabbi Yossi Omer caused a get that actually it would be a good get, and the Gemara is going to explain why. Now, if they waited until after the 12 months, and then they wrote it, and they delivered it, they gave it, so that's a good get, right? But if after the 12 months, right, so he says, right, if I don't come back in 12 months, write and give a get to my wife, and that's what they did. After 12 months, he didn't come back, they wrote a get, they gave it to his wife, but then they find out that he died. If the get was given before Misa, Hari's a get, then it's a good get. Misa Kadma the get, but if he had died before they gave the get, Eino get, then it's not a get, and she's a widow. And if they don't know when exactly he died, if they had already given the get or not, Zoe Shama Migoreshes Fena Migoreshes, well then, Migoreshes Fena Migoreshes, it's a suffix. So now says the Gemara, we've seen this Masechta Ksubis, we saw it already the other day in Masechta Gittin, Tana Rabbi Seinui Tirua Linose, that even in the Reisha, where it says, what do we say? Here's you get if I don't come back in 12 months, ain't no get. And he dies within 12 months, it's not a kosher get. It's not a kosher get because he didn't come back within 12 months, he died in the middle. Ain't get la'achar misa, it's no good. But, now says the Gemara, Tana Rabbi Seinui Tirua Linose. The rabbi said, Itaka is a good get. And she can get married without having to do yibum. Man Rabbi Seinu. Who are these rabbis? Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, says Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Beidin de Shao Mishcha, it's the Bezdin in Masechta Avodah permitted wine of Ovid Kochavim. Savilak Rav Yossi, they hold like Rav Yossi, the Amar Zman Shashtam Mechia Chalab, who says that the time written on the document, means that it's Mehayom. It's really from today. And therefore it's a valid get, and she can get married without having to do Yibum. Amr Rabba Red Reb Chia bar Abba, Amr Reb Yochanan, Reb Yehuda Nesiya B'nosha Ben Gamliel bar Rebbe Hora. That this was, who's the Beidina D'Sho Mishcha? It's Reb Yehuda Nesiya, who was the son of Reb Shimon bar Rebbe. It's Rebbe's grandson, Reb Yehuda Nesiya. He was the son of Reb Gamliel, the son of Rebbe. Hora Hodulo. So he said this halacha that she would be considered divorced. But none of his contemporaries agreed with him. To those who say during his lifetime they didn't agree with him. Okay. So now Rabbi Elazar said to a certain elder who was apparently part of this bezdin or together with this bezdin, who permitted her to get remarried without yibum. So kisharisua le'alter shrisua or la'achar shnimasa chodesh shrisua. So Rabbi Elazar asked a certain elder that when you said that it's a kosher get and therefore she can get married without yibum, can she get married immediately when she finds out that he died, right? So if he says, here's your get, if I don't come back in 12 months, and because Rabbi Yossi says, so she's divorced from now, and if he dies within the 12 months, let's say after 6 months he dies, can she immediately get remarried, or does she have to wait until the end of the 12 months when he hasn't come back? Do we say that she can immediately get married? Because obviously he's not going to be coming back, he's dead. So you may as well just get married now. Or maybe she nonetheless still has to wait until 12 months, even though yes, obviously he's not coming back, he's dead, but still, the condition was for 12 months, you have to wait for the 12 months. Right? Maybe it's not enough that obviously the 12, eventually the 12 months are going to arrive and, right, there's no chance of him coming back, but still you have to wait, that's the condition. Now, Rabbi Elazar, why did Rabbi Elazar ask this elder about this case that has a machlokas regarding it, right? The one where he doesn't say me'achshav im lo basi ad 12 chodesh, right? Why is Rabbi Elazar asking this elder about the opinion of the Beidina D'Shao Mishcha? Why not mention the case in the Mishnah me'achshav im lo basi mikan vad yud beis chodesh, that you're divorced from now if I don't come back within 12 months, and he dies in those 12 months. How is it get? Everyone agrees that in that case it would be a get. So why not ask on that case where everybody agrees, not the one where there's a machlokus between the Beidina D'Shao Mishcha and our Mishnah that says that it's not a get. La'alter have a get. Do we say, ask about the second case in the Mishnah where everybody agrees that it would be a good get? Is it a good get immediately when she finds out that he's dead? Right, so do we say it's, immediately when she finds out she can get married because he's obviously not going to be coming back? Or maybe she has to still wait till the 12 months for the Tanai to be realized. So the Gemara answers, yeah, he could have asked about the case in the Mishnah. The reason why he asked about the first case, he could have asked us about the second case in the Mishnah, but the reason why he asked about the first case in the Mishnah, which really is only relevant based on the Beidina D'Shao Mishcha, is because this particular elder was in that Bezdin. He was there. And therefore, Rabbi Elazar was asking about the elder about exactly what happened in that Bezdin. Did they permit immediately when she finds out, or does she still have to wait the 12 months? It looks like we... I don't think that we actually resolve this question. Amar Abai says, Abai, akol modim heicha de Omar lichshetetze chama min atika. So everybody agrees that if a person would say, that if a husband would say to his wife, here's your get, and you are divorced lichshetetze chama min atika when, at the crack of dawn tomorrow morning. That means at the crack of dawn. And if he dies that night, well then the divorce had not yet kicked in, and it can no longer kick in because ain't get lachar misa. But if he says, here's your get under the condition that there's going to be a crack of dawn tomorrow morning, well then, he's saying that you're divorced from now. The Amar Rafuna Amar Rebbe says, Rafuna the name of Rebbe, Kol Omer Almanas, Komer Me'achshav Dami. That a fellow who says almanas under condition, it means from now. So therefore they're divorced from now, and she's divorced. She's not a widow. Lo nechleku ella, the machlokes between the Mishnah and the Brisa. The Mishnah which says that Hariza Gittin im lo basi mikan vad 12 chodesh, and he dies in the middle, but he didn't say me'achshav. Right, and the Brisa which says that nonetheless she's divorced from now. Ella be'im teitze. That only, right, he says, you're divorced from now if the dawn cracks tomorrow morning, which is similar to, in our case, im lo basi mikan vad 12 chodesh. So in the Brisa, where they permitted her to get remarried, they hold like Rabbi Yossi, who says that it's manosh shtar muchia chalav, and it's from now. It's like from now if I die. Or from now if I die, right? From today if I die, from now if I die, which we say it's from now. Whereas in the Mishnah they don't. It's not the opinion of Rebbe, and therefore we do not say and therefore it's just basically imati. It's like the same of imati after I die, in which is ein get lachar misa. Fine. That's why the Mishnah says it's not a good get. Kisvu usnu get leishti im lo basi mikan vad yud beis chodesh kasvu v'chulei. So in the case where it says, right, kisvu usnu get leishti, right, I want you to write and give a get to my wife, im lo basi mikan vad yud beis chodesh, if I don't come back within 12 months. So Rabbi Yossi had said that if they write it within 12 months and give it after 12 months, it's fine. The Tanna Kama says that no, it's not okay. So Amalei Rav Yemer le Rav Ashi, Lema Kasav Rav Yossi Kasav Get Al Tanai Kosher. So does that mean that Rav Yossi says that you can write a get based on a condition that hasn't yet been met, right? Meaning the Mishnah says, write a get and give it to my wife if I don't come back within 12 months. And Rav Yossi is saying that if you write the get within 12 months, it's kosher. So does that mean that Rav Yossi, right, as long as you give it, deliver it after 12 months. So does that mean that Rav Yossi says that you can write the get even before the condition has been met, even before the 12 months are up? No. The olam emalach pasul. No, really I'll say in general, Rabbi Yossi would say that you cannot write the get prior to the condition being met. But v'shayni acha, it's different in this case in our Mishnah. Since what he should have said is, if I don't come back, then write and give it. But he says fakert, he says, I want you to write a get and give it to my wife if I don't come back. So first he's mentioning the writing. So Achik this is what he's saying. Kisvu me'achshav, you can write it already now, usnu, but then give it im lobasi if I don't come back. Then at that point you give it. But you can write it beforehand. Whereas the rabbis say it doesn't make a difference if he says im lobasi kisvu usnu or if he says kisvu usnu im lobasi, it makes no difference. You have to wait until the condition is met before you do anything. And finally, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught la'achar shavua. So if he says that you are divorced if I don't come back after the 7th year of Shemitah, so Shana, so he has the whole 8th year to come back. La'achar Shana, he says if I don't come back by the end of the year, Chodesh, so he has an extra month, right? So he has a month until they're divorced. La'achar Chodesh, if I don't come back till after the month, Shabbos, so you have 1 week. La'achar Shabbos, Mai. What about if he says we're divorced if I don't come back until after Shabbos? So Yosef Rebzera Kamid Reb Asi, V'Amila Reb Asi Kamid Reb Yochanan, V'Ka'omer, and he said, Chad b'Shabbat v'Trei v'Tlosa Basar Shabbos. So so Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday are all considered after Shabbos. So it sounds like as long as he comes back before Tuesday, so then it's fine. Whereas Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are considered before Shabbos. Okay, Tani Rebbe Omer says Rebbe la'achar regel, right, like before the next Shabbos. La'achar regel shloshim yom. Rebbe says that if he says that we're divorced if I don't come back until after if I don't come back after the festival, so you have 30 days. Nafik Reb Chia darsha mishmei de Rebbe. Reb Chia went out and he explained this halacha that you have 30 days in the name of Rebbe, v'kasu, and then they praised him because he claimed that it was a das yachid, i.e. they don't pass in that way, right? So therefore they praised him because he was explaining it as only the opinion of Rebbe. Mishmei derab v'lo kasu. But when he said it as that this is the majority opinion, they said no, it's not. So clearly then the halacha is not like Rebbe, because they were only happy when Reb Chia stated as a das yochid, because it's not the halacha. But when he tried to state it as the majority opinion, they said no, it's not. Hadran olach misha chazo. We'll come back to you, misha chazo. Wow, that was a shtickle marathon, but we accomplished quite a bit today. We did the entire Ayin Vav, which is not a small daf. We also did half of Ayin Hey Amud Beis and half of Ayin Zayin Amud Aleph, which is good. So now we are positioned to get started with the 8th parak of Masechet Gittin. I hope you enjoy. Peace out.